News Now. Breaking news.
Tonight, the Park Fire continues to rage out of control, growing tonight to 125,000 acres. This is an Alert California camera, a live look at the Park Fire in Cohasset, very near our KHSL Channel 12 transmitter. A viewer warning, by the way, we will be showing burned homes and buildings on tonight's newscast. Now, this fire is impacting thousands of people across Butte and Tehama counties. This is the latest look at the area that's been burned so far. It stretches from Upper Bidwell Park all the way well into Tehama County. 25 miles. Of course, this fire started yesterday afternoon. The cause is arson, according to authorities tonight. A Chico man is behind bars. We'll have more on that later in this newscast. Now, the fire has burned at least 6 homes officially, but perhaps many, many more. This is video from this morning of homes and buildings burned overnight north of the Chico Airport. And also new tonight, Butte County Chief Administrative Officer Andy Pickett issued a local emergency proclamation. Pickett said not only does an emergency proclamation ensure regulations that may hinder response and recovery efforts are waived, it also allows the county to request additional resources, which helps the county better respond to the needs of the community. Now, there are 25 evacuation orders right now in Butte County with several evacuation warnings in yellow. Now, this is a reminder now 30 times larger, this fire, than the Thompson fire, recall from a couple of weeks ago near Oroville. Now, this is the latest updated Butte County evacuation map. The red areas are all zones under evacuation order. This is the Cohasset Ridge, Forest Ranch, Richardson Springs, and the Chico Airport. The yellow areas are under a warning. That's near DeSabla, a portion of Paradise, and part of Butte Creek Canyon. And in the Garner Lane area, just a stone's throw from our Action News Now studios. This is Tehama County's evacuation map. There are 15 evacuation orders in place. This is for the areas of Bella Vista and in the Ishi Wilderness. The yellow, again, are warning zones, meaning be prepared to go once and if a warning is issued. So this, as you can see in the Las Molinas area, this actually stretches right up there to Red Bluff on the west. And we have all of these evacuation zones, orders, and warnings for all the counties, both counties, listed on our website. You can find them on the front page under news links. We also have team coverage across our area tonight. Chief Meteorologist Howie Gordon is tracking the direction of the fire and other conditions. Margot Rowe is on the ridge where some campfire survivors are now facing evacuation warnings. And Jesse Angelo is following the fire conditions along Highway 32 tonight and the danger to Forest Ranch, now under evacuation order. In fact, take a look at this aerial view of Highway 32 between Chico and Forest Ranch. This video is captured from the KCRA helicopter around 6 p.m. You can see the fire burning right along Highway 32 near Forest Ranch. Action News Now reporter Jesse Angelo was reporting from this area live earlier this evening, and he joined. So Jesse, what has changed since we last checked in with you 5 hours ago?
Well, Alan, I can tell you that the area where I was earlier today, I can't even access right now because of all of the fire equipment that is there at that location, which has completely burned from where I was standing. So take a look at this video from earlier today, right here near where I am off of Highway 32. And even though this area is sparsely populated, several neighbors in this area were hanging out and watching the fire. CAL FIRE officials had to get several of them to leave, and some did not. I got to speak with one of those people, one of the neighbors. Here, take a listen.
Well, we are contemplating staying put, and we're also thinking about leaving. The problem with leaving is we wouldn't be able to come back. If we see the flames, we're out of here.
Now, CAL FIRE officials tell me that the fire is moving at a rapid pace and that by the time you see the flames, it could be too late. So it's very important to heed those warnings. And if you are in a current evacuation warning, it's time to get your go bag together so that if that warning turns into an order, you can leave the scene immediately. Live in Chico, Jesse Angelo, Action News Now.
All right, thanks for that update, Jesse. We'll check with you in just a bit, but now let's go to Chief Meteorologist Howie Gordon, tracking the conditions right now. Howie?
All right, so winds are what really moved into the area, making things almost unstoppable in terms of controlling fires at the moment, and we're still looking at some gusts across the area. We'll start off right here. Here's our park fire graphic. So here's what we're looking at for humidity and for winds. Okay, so winds at about 14 miles per hour. It really depends where you are, because I have some winds in Paradise. They're only sustained at about 5, but they're gusting to 12 to 13. Humidity levels at 20%. Other areas maybe up to 25 or 26. Either way, that's not a good recovery overnight in terms of being better or safer for the environment. Let's look at some of the hot spots. Okay, so over the 12 to 24 hours, here is what we have. Then over the last 12, some spots, okay, on the orange, on that cooler side. Relative humidity, as I just mentioned, not really recovering. Now, the good news is, not right now we're going to have it, but what is looking to happen, by the weekend, are winds are going to start to diminish and humidity levels are going to increase. That bodes well for fire control, but at the moment, the rest of Thursday into Friday, going to be very, very tough.
All right, thanks, Howie. We'll check with you in a bit, too. But for now, Action News Now reporter Margot Rowe is live at Lookout Point in Paradise, a town that was nearly completely destroyed 6 years ago, of course, in the Camp Fire. And tonight, a portion of Paradise is under evacuation warning. So, Margot, I know you spoke with people on the ridge tonight. What are you hearing?
Alan, I'm hearing a variety of people telling me that they have a variety of emotions, honestly. A lot of the flames and the smoke from the park fire, you can actually see a little bit of it behind me. You can just see the glow right here, edging along the ridge here. Many of them have this is obviously triggering a lot of memories of the campfire 6 years ago. Now, several people I spoke with tell me that those who are under evacuation warnings are nervous. Some aren't too worried because they have defensible spaces. But everyone I spoke with has at least a plan in place. Now, I spoke to a lot of people tonight at the grocery store, at Safe Mart, at gas stations, and folks tell me they are preparing even if they aren't under an evacuation warning because they understand how quickly a fire can move and can change direction. Now, people were sharing their stories with me on how their different game plans on tonight, on what they're doing to prepare. Some people have told me that their neighbors have already left the ridge because they're not taking any chances, and those under warning are preparing.
And you see a lot of people coming down the Skyway right now with their trailers. You know, they're not waiting. You know, I think we learned our lesson last time because everything happens so quickly.
But a lot of my neighbors in my neighborhood are actually staying because they're worried about the looters this year. Okay. So everybody's kind of staying, but a lot of the people further up in Magalia I have heard have left.
It breaks my heart. It's scary. It's very scary. Even though it's a warning and you feel like it's a far, far distance away, you just don't know. We did go through the campfire, so we're used to it all. We drove through the flames at that one. So no matter what you do, you can't plan enough ahead for it.
Lori McCallison, who you just saw in that last interview, is under an evacuation warning, and she says she is prepared with all of her belongings, her cats, and they are ready to go. And again, if you do live in the town of Paradise, the warning zones that are under a warning are Zone 1, Zone 4, and Zone 9. But pretty much, Alan, to sum it up, a lot of people I spoke with are preparing. They have a plan. Given their experience with the campfire, they're just not taking any chances tonight. Reporting live in Paradise, I'm Margot Rowe for Action News Now.
Margot, I want to ask you a quick question, though. Just to be clear to our viewers, we do see the glow over your right shoulder there, but that, as I'm looking here, is about 3.5 miles away from you. So you still have all of Butte Creek Canyon and about 3.5 miles between where you are at
Yes.
Skyway and Highway 32.
Yeah, so there is quite a bit of a distance here. I'm kind of shocked that it is picking up on the camera because it is very far away, but it pretty much is on the other side of the ridge here. It is definitely creeping towards Forest Ranch. I'll get behind the camera here to show you. Now, obviously, there is a lot of concern for Magalia from several folks I spoke with, but let me just zoom in right here. Again, it is pretty dark out, but yeah, this is pretty much the glow right on the other side here. Camera's trying to focus because there's just so little light right now, so you're going to have to give me a moment. But yeah, the fire is pretty much still not pushing south, or it's just still moving to that north direction. But obviously, things could change. The winds are still a very active role in tonight.
Thank you, Margot. But to be clear, the town of Paradise has issued evacuation warnings for zones 1, 4, and 9. Those are mostly on the other side towards Butte Creek Canyon from the Skyway. No current evacuation orders for Paradise. So you can find the very latest on all evacuations at actionnewsnow.com. Now to the man Cal Fire says started the park fire. Authorities say 42-year-old Ronnie Stout, a twice convicted felon, was seen pushing a car that was on fire into an embankment off of Upper Park Road yesterday afternoon. And that started the fire that has now destroyed homes, forced mass evacuations, and caused untold heartache in Butte County tonight. And it's not over yet. Action News Now reporter Camille Acevedo breaks down the timeline.
This two-door vehicle is completely destroyed from the outside to the inside. And as it sits in the burn scar of the park fire, fire personnel crews work around it, putting out any hot spots in Alligator Hole and Upper Bidwell Park. Butte County District Attorney Mike Ramsey says this is the vehicle that started the fire.
Evidence has indicated that that vehicle had been set on fire, whether accidentally or intentionally. A little mushy in the evidence right at this time.
Chico Fire Department crews tell me that they still need to process this vehicle that you see right behind me, which means that they need to go through it and see if they need to collect anything. Ramsey says the vehicle was a 2007 Toyota Yaris, a small subcompact vehicle, and when arson investigators arrived on scene, the vehicle was destroyed entirely. And District Attorney Mike Ramsey shares with me more details about the arrest that was just made in relation to the park fire. The suspect is 42-year-old Ronnie Dean Stout II of Chico. Ramsey says a witness had seen Stout in the area with the vehicle.
Was seen with fire in the front of his vehicle, and Mr. Stout, later identified as that person with that vehicle, saw him get in the vehicle, get out of the vehicle, and then push the flaming vehicle down the embankment, and then leave from the scene.
Ramsey says Stout was arrested at a Chico residence at 2 a.m. Thursday. He is currently facing a variety of arson charges. However, it is too early to tell what those exact charges are. It depends on the outcome of the fire. Ramsey says it is still an active investigation. In Chico, I'm Camille Acevedo for Action News Now.
Ramsey tells Action News Now Stout has 2 prior criminal strikes from back in the early 2000s. The first for child molestation in Butte County. These are convictions. The second for robbery with great bodily injury in Kern County.